Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Miss Tarot and we are back today with just a very general reading. Please also, if you are looking for your Leo reading for end of July, beginning of August, I will put the link up into the whatever side I end up putting it into. But today we are just going to do a general reading for the collective, explore some energies, and just let whatever wants to come through, okay? So we'll leave this over here. We are going to use the Soul's Journey lesson cards today. And then over here, we are going to use the Tarot of the Abyss. And at the end of the reading, we will pull some angel messages. Okay, so let's get in here and see what there is to say. Let's see. Okay, good. Although, I mean, you know, I see regret, so not good, but is that the only one we see? Is that it? Anything else? Three's a charm. What else? Anything else need to say? Because this is my last shuffle. Okay, well, you know, that's not quite. Well, you know what? If they want to come out, they want to come out. We are not going to, what do I want to say? We are not going to say no when Spirit throws out lots of information, are we? Okay, wow. So we got a lot to unpack today in this reading. Hey doggies, how about you not be jumping all over the place when I'm doing a reading? Okay. Here we go. So we have regret, we have perseverance, we have blame, guilt, and trust. And wow, this is quite the interesting cycle you are going through. And that is exactly what we're looking at, is a cycle. Obviously something probably happened in either the recent past or, you know, decently far enough in the past that you have not moved on from. You have significant regrets. It says, I know that I cannot change the past, but I don't think you do know that you cannot change the past. Hence the cycle that we are in right now. I would probably say that in the middle of the reading, we have blame. You need to accept responsibility for your well-being and to stop blaming yourself. This is an incredibly interesting reading, but we will just keep going. And in terms of, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Let's just lay it on the line and get some truth and clarity. Okay. Perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. And trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So, in terms of this, I really do think that in the center of the reading, you are exhibiting a lot of blame that is leading to regret. Now, how do we get away from the guilt, the blame, and the regret into perseverance and trust? Let's take a look at the tarot and see. But these are the mantras that a little mix of what you're being advised to do and also kind of what your current state of affairs are. Okay, so let's shuffle up the Tarot of the Abyss and see if we can get some clarity. Okay. All right, let's just see what comes out. Caught that one. It's on my lap. There goes another one flying towards the window. Okay, well, interesting. I see 2 major arcana, 3 major arcana. All right, here we go. Page of Cups, of the Magician. Oh yeah, okay. The High Priestess at the actually, I was gonna say Wheel of Fortune came out. Ace of Pentacles did, because that's the one that flew into my lap, and the High Priestess at the Trust. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Make sure everything is in frame here for you guys. All right, so what we looking at here? Okay, well, we got the Page of Cups. We got the Page of Cups, clarifying regret. Knowing that you cannot change the past is the mantra that you need to adopt for this. In this particular deck, the Page of Cups, I don't know if you can see that card exceptionally well, but the Page of Cups is somebody who's on a ship and is kind of, there's a lot of chaos going on in the background, and he's kind of holding this torch to see what he's doing and trying to deal with, I feel like it's a funny little sea creature right there. But, you know, with the Page of Cups, there are a lot, the pages in general are a lot about learning and starting from scratch. When it comes to how we can apply this to regret, it's I kind of get called back to the card because, like I said, that, you know, he has this chaos of the sea going on behind him and he's not fazed by it. And I think that's kind of like a map. I saw little legs, so I thought it was a sea creature, but now I see that it's actually a map. And his task is to kind of ensure that the ship stays on course, right? Regardless of what, there's a plane go over my house really low. Okay. Regardless of what any of this outcome is, or what the journey is going to look like ahead, or if the waters are calm or stormy, it has to do with being able to navigate through it. Okay. And kind of when it comes to regret and not being able to change the past, is, you know, realizing that this is new waters for you. You are going to have to let it go for your own health and wellness on its own. But the regret is something that reminds you to act differently next time, right? So that you don't experience the same thing over and over again. So kind of take what lessons that this has taught you and apply it moving forward, because that's what the page does. The page learns from his mistakes. He is a newbie. He is, you know, kind of like a pioneer in terms of exploring. And this has a lot to do with your emotions. So maybe what you are supposed to do is explore this emotion of regret. Really take a moment to explore where this is coming from and really look at it from, you know, a little bit more of a detached perspective, and see if this is something that you really need to be wrapped up in. If this emotion really is valid, or if you are in a cycle of blaming yourself, that leads to this kind of this unnecessary emotion, or that you have placed on yourself. Okay. So it's really interesting that we have the Magician here with perseverance. The Magician is creating his own destiny. He is creating something out of nothing. He is alchemizing. The Magician is one of the most powerful cards in the deck, just because he can turn anything. He's the manifester. He's the master manifester magician. He can take whatever he wants and spin that into his own reality. And that perseverance, it says, I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to, is very much magician energy. Magician is really encouraging. This is kind of the encouragement piece right here, where they're telling you, hey, your thoughts are dictating your reality. So if you're going to live in the dark zone of regret, shame, and guilt, that's kind of what you're going to get. And you're just going to be stuck in it. You're going to stuck in this negative feedback loop where you're always going to feel horrible about yourself and to whatever it is that you're never going to move on. Okay. So you are really going to have to take a very active role in changing your mindset and really releasing what is no longer serving you at this point. And these emotions are not meant to stay. Their emotions are data, okay? And if you feel regret, it's teaching you something. And once, if you have learned that lesson and you understand that lesson, done, let it go, right? Same thing with blame and guilt, okay? Until you process that, understand that, yes, I am blaming myself for this. What have I learned from this? How do I feel about this? Okay, I'm going to let myself sit with my emotions for a little bit, and then I'm going to push them away. You don't need to live in it. You're supposed to experience it for a brief amount of time and then let it go and move forward. Definitely set some time, and should I say, like, hold space for yourself to be able to release this. Do whatever you have to do to purge this negative energy, but you absolutely cannot stay in this energy, okay, is what I'm seeing here. So the blame and accepting responsibility for your own well-being is clarified by the Wheel of Fortune, okay? And the Wheel of Fortune is, some people call it like luck, or, it is a little bit of, I would probably say, things turning into your favor. And it basically, it's an endless spiral, right, that influences the events of life. So she is this person who's weaving this beautiful tapestry, right? And basically, it's life in terms of the highs and lows. And, how do I want to say this? Like, fate can be really fickle, right? Because one moment you're just up in the sky, nothing going on, and then the next moment you're kind of dropped into the depths of like, sometimes as low as, despair and that sort of thing. And there's that spiral of time, right? And I think, and this is my own personal view, but I think we have been conditioned in whatever way, I don't know how, to think that life is always supposed to be happy, that we are people on this earth and we are meant to be happy all the time. And while we deserve happiness, it is not feasible or to be happy all the time, okay? Life is going to be highs and lows, and if there is something that you are blaming yourself for, you're really going to have to release it and recognize that this is a low point in your life, and now let's turn the wheel and get to the high point. And the Wheel of Fortune is signifying that there's a turning point on the horizon to where you are going to be either put back onto like kind of an even keel, or possibly into, up in the sky of happiness type of thing. It basically indicates that times are changing. All right. And if this has really left you stagnant, just know that big change is coming when it comes to that. It's going to get better. Typically, when I see something like this, the Wheel of Fortune can spin either way, right? It can kind of stay neutral. It can go high, it can go low. So, this indicating that it was kind of been a little bit of a bummer run lately. It's definitely going to change for the better. But it's kind of a very subtle card. And in the way that this wheel card will turn things upside down, and the impact could possibly have lifelong consequences. I could probably say not consequences, but repercussions. And it can alter the course of your life greatly. And I think it's crazy that it's in the Mint Center you're reading with blame, and accepting responsibility for your well-being is kind of the mantra. So you being able to change the course of your life and reality by releasing this is probably going to bring you into a much higher realm, okay, is what I'm saying. And then when it comes to guilt, the mantra for this one, again, is I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. That's pretty obvious to what we've been talking about with everything else. But what I will say with the Ace of Pentacles kind of clarifying that is, this is an earth element. And sometimes I think of it as wanting to kind of form a bridge between, you know, ourselves and pretty much all living things. It's about building strong foundations. And sometimes it brings some sort of financial opportunity, but in this case, I really do think it's about your foundation, with how you are living your life and how it affects everything else going on with you carrying this guilt. You know, with this particular, since it's the first card out the deck when it comes to the Suit of Pentacles, you really need to understand that this is only demonstrates potential. You still are going to have to put the work in to actualize it. So this is a brand new opportunity to release this and move on to greater things. Okay. It's definitely slow moving energy, and it's not going to be without its own challenges, but this is something, it's handing you this opportunity to release this and move on to bigger and better things. And that very much ties with the Magician and the Wheel of Fortune as well. Okay. Now, when it comes to trust and the mantra, I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly, that is something that is very much, do I want to say, like, embodies a lot of the High Priestess, because this person is a very kind of a still and quiet figure, and she guards the door of both positive and negative forces, right? So she is the counterpart to the Magician, and she kind of represents our subconscious and, you know, areas of your mind that need to be opened. She is also somebody that shows up when you need a period of enlightenment. And with here, it talks about your inner voice and your intuition and your gut and, you know, the inner you that absolutely knows what needs to be done. She is really a powerful force that helps manifest those particular desires. Hi, Sadie Mae. You know, with the Magician, we have the desire to create and bring things into being, and the priestess, the High Priestess, has the unseen power forces and manifests these desires. So, you know, she is definitely encouraging you to kind of master this being within and being comfortable with being within yourself, and listening to all of this data, right? All of the data of feelings that you are going through, and really taking a look inwardly and growing from it. Okay. There's enlightenment on the horizon. She wants you to really unlock those very specific corners of your mind that will bring that clarity and bring this into release, right? So that you can start moving forward and manifesting all the greater things that kind of await you if you are able to close these doors. Okay. Let's see here. I do want to get, I feel like we got a decent amount of advice, but I'm going to get, let's just do 3 cards, 3 more cards, in terms of just final warnings, advice, whatever. Oh, that is crazy. I just got the Awakening card. Okay, and the Chariot. Woof. Gosh, you were just hitting the major arcana today. That is crazy. All right, we have the Chariot. We have Awakening, which is pretty much the Judgment card in this deck. And then we have the 5 of Cups, okay? The 5 of Cups is going to help you really kind of dig deep and process these energies, and it really encourages you not to focus on the loss, right? Because again, life is full of ups and downs. We got 3 spilled cups here. It's going to be a very, very easy way to just kind of sit there and dwell on the fact that we have lost this, and it's always going to try and pull you back into it. Your brain is always going to try and pull you back into, but what about this? But what about this? We did this. You really are going to have to make a conscious effort to move forward. And I think with the Chariot here and the Awakening card, I really do think that the Chariot has a lot to do with countering energies. Okay. You got to think of it as kind of like those, just the Greek and Roman chariots that had two powerful horses constantly pulling, right? Well, they didn't always pull in unison. Sometimes one wanted to go this way and this way, and it really took a skilled driver to kind of pull those two opposing forces together and make them work together. So there's no reason why you cannot take all these negative aspects and negative lessons, and well, not negative lessons, no lesson is negative, but experiences, and learn from those lessons and really harness that into a drive moving forward. Does that make sense? Something I would probably say is that, you being able to honor both sides, right? Being able to honor the experiences that you went through, but having the power to move really, is that word strongly? Move strongly forward? That doesn't even sound right. To move forward with strength. Because at the center of your reading, we have the Judgment card, we have awakening, okay? And awakening is, you're awakening from this deep sleep that has kind of kept you down, kept you away from your higher self. This is a beautiful card to have at the center of your reading because it's showing up with the Wheel of Fortune, and definitely showing you that there is a new day. It's kind of like, think of like, I don't know, a phoenix rising type situation where you've been broken down, but you're rising again, honestly, rising from the ashes, right? And actually it's really funny because this particular card does show a woman like sprouting big eagle feathers to kind of, or actually I should say phoenix feathers, but not only is this particular card part of rejuvenation and like a representative of almost like a spiritual awakening, it also has to do with outgrowing your old self and leaving that behind, leaving that hollow, empty side of you absolutely behind. It's obviously exhausting journey, right? But it's embracing your new self. It's exploring your wings. It's, gathering strength for whatever challenges and, opportunities lie ahead. It pretty much, in a very basic nutshell way, invites you to take note of your life objectively, right? You really need to also step back and consider how much you've grown and learned, especially when it comes to all this stuff. And, if you're getting to the point where you've outgrown certain ways of life, certain chapters in your life, relationships, etc., part of your chapters might be drawing to a close. And, with all of these cards here, I do sense that there's a reluctance to kind of complete this final metamorphosis because, comfort and stability, I wouldn't call this comfort and stability. I would call this just existing, or shall I say surviving, not thriving. But whatever it is, if you've been feeling down about this with regret and blame and all these negative feelings, the Awakening card definitely brings solace and reintegration in your life. So, kind of take it into consideration that, you're kind of becoming the sweet little butterfly, take your time to regenerate and then take off and soar, right? All right, let's get a few angel messages from your team. Hey, you know what? Clicky dogs, can you just stop running around for a minute? I'm actually reading with the window open because it's just a beautiful day, not too hot. And obviously, stuff going on in the neighborhood, Amazon packages, that sort of thing. And they're so nosy. They want to see everything. Okay. Anything else? I get the sense that that's it. They had 4 for you. Okay. All right, so in order, we have 10-10. I am patient. Keep your thoughts positive and patient, and be patient as everything working out for your highest good. Trust that your angels are working behind the scenes to help you. And we have 17. I am independent. The quality of work you can produce when you're going at it alone is almost unbelievable. You are as independent as you are ambitious, capable of performing every step of the way with efficiency, focus, and skill. We have I am creative with a 111. Angels are ready to fully support you in this endeavor so that you can co-create with the universe a life that you love. And then we have I am nurturing. Your heart is your gift. You are a natural born nurturer and have a great talent for helping and healing others. You are the epitome of self-sacrifice and a protector of those you love. And I just had a really big sense because this came out down here with the inner voice, trusting, and the high priestess card is, something that is extremely beneficial, and something that actually called me to tarot is if you have a story to tell that you feel that others would benefit from your experience, and hearing that they're not alone, that there's probably many people going through this exact thing, share it. I mean, even if it's as simple as going anonymously on Reddit and just being like, hey, this is what I was going through, this is my story, and this is how I beat it. It can actually be a huge, positive, uplifting, like shining light to somebody else. So just kind of consider that, because that just came right to my mind when I was doing that, just popped in. So anyways, that is all the messages I have for you, my dear people. Definitely please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. It definitely helps me know what kind of videos that you guys like, you dislike. Commenting down below definitely lets me know what circumstances you guys have been going through. I love hearing that it helps. So, and hey, you know what? If you feel like this is something that somebody else needs to hear, go ahead and give it a share to somebody, okay? Maybe they'll find some comfort or some hope in this reading. But thank you again for being here. I will catch you at another reading next week. Have a great one. Take care. Bye.